What's up, everyone? It's Andres here with the Strength Cave, and I wanted to make another video for you guys today. With the topic today being daily undulating periodization. So, this is something that's been very popular, especially in powerlifting over the last 5 years or so. It really gained a lot of popularity probably a few years back. A lot of high level powerlifters were using a DUP style of training. A lot of coaches were using a DUP style of training, and it really caught fire when guys who were utilizing that kind of periodization strategy were winning high level competitions like Raw Nationals or even at the IPF world stage or the Arnold or things like that. And so, because of that, it's sort of taken on a life of its own to the sense that everybody sort of thinks that you should be doing DUP all the time. And on one hand, they can be right, and on the other hand, they can be wrong. And it all just kind of depends on what you're talking about when it comes to DUP. So, DUP isn't really a new concept. It's not like 5 years ago somebody came up with it and that was the first time anybody had ever heard of it. It's actually kind of an old concept that has been thrown around for decades, and even within like Bulgarian and Russian methodologies has been used at least a certain variation of it. So daily undulating periodization really is just a periodization strategy in which you alternate between different volumes and intensities each day throughout a week or a microcycle, as opposed to the traditional linear periodization where you're kind of sticking with a certain volume and intensity scheme for several weeks before it's ever changed. So every week you're doing the same sets and reps and maybe just trying to increase the amount of weight that you're putting on the bar. With DUP, each day is sort of a little bit different. You might have a high volume day, you might have a high intensity day, you might have a speed day, you might have just a hypertrophy day, and you're sort of just alternating between a few different goals each day. The thing with DUP is that it has been sort of taken to a degree or taken to an extreme, especially within powerlifting, to where what people think DUP is not really sustainable, nor is it healthy, nor is it effective in the long term. And I'm going to tell you why. A lot of times what I saw what people were doing with DUP as far as powerlifting is concerned is every single day, yes, they were alternating the rep scheme, yes, they were alternating the weight on the bar, but the overall intensity of those sessions was really high every single day. And what I mean by that is they would be having days where, yeah, they were hitting doubles maybe on a Friday where they're doing 5 sets of 2 on a back squat. And then the other days were maybe, 3 sets of 8, 3 or 4 sets of 8, and another day might have been, sets of 4 or sets of 6. But where they missed the mark is that every single day was taken to almost failure on each set. So even though it was a set of 8, even though it was a set of 4 or a set of 6, they were still going to RPE 9, 9.5 on those sets. And then on their heavy day, quote unquote heavy day, where they're doing sets of 2, they're still going to RPE 9 or maybe hitting a single at 9.5 or something like that. And so what's happening is they're actually never getting that high low that you want out of periodization or out of DUP. They were going high every single day. It's just that their volume was different every single day, but their intensity never changed. And so what happens over time is, yeah, you're going to get strong. You can get strong as hell, as a matter of fact, and that's why you're seeing all these people, setting records and attaining levels of strength that they'd never even thought were possible. But eventually, they broke down, right? So you can't maintain that kind of intensity over and over and over, week on week on week, without something breaking eventually. And so what you started to see is a lot of people getting back injuries, hip injuries, knee injuries. People who were on the scene that were just like world beaters ended up, you just don't hear from them anymore because they got injured. And so in that aspect, when you apply DUP that way, that really sucks. That's a really, really bad way to apply DUP. And so when I say DUP sucks, it's because the way people tend to use DUP, especially within powerlifting, is just a really bad adaptation of what, and a bastardization of what DUP really was supposed to be. Really what DUP is supposed to be is a high-low method. So on one day you're doing maybe a higher volume, but the RPE or the intensity or the percentage you're using on that volume day should not be maximal. It should be submaximal. It should be something that, you know, each time you get under the bar for a set on that day, there should be some energy left in the tank. You should be able to repeat that over and over again. Same thing goes, you know, that doesn't mean that you never go as heavy as you can. Yes, you do on that high intensity day. That's when you're hitting your doubles with high intensity and going to an RPE 9 or something like that. But it shouldn't be happening every single day. You should have a high-low where you're alternating between intensities over a given week or 2 weeks or what have you. You'll have to excuse my dog barking in the background because the mailman just showed up, and that's his arch nemesis. So I apologize for that. But so yeah, I've done research in DUP. My thesis was 2 different strategies of DUP where I had alternated the intensity differently between the two and kept the volume the same over time. And we found that the strategy where intensity was, you know, intensity was spread more evenly and in a smarter way got better results, especially as far as injury prevention and dropouts and all that kind of thing was concerned. So I'm pretty familiar with DUP. It's what my research was in my master's degree, but surprisingly, I'm not like a DUP. Like I don't rely solely on DUP when I write programs. It really just kind of depends on the person. But what I do rely on for most people's programs is that high-low method where I am giving you, you know, doses of intensity, doses of high intensity on some days and doses of lower intensity, maybe higher volume on other days. And that does work really well. And in that respect, DUP or any kind of nonlinear periodization, whether it be Westside, whether it be DUP, you know, whether it be block periodization, whether it be, you know, just you know, anything like that, it's good. It's just that you have to apply it the right way. So, you know, that's sort of my take on DUP as somebody who has done a lot of programming for powerlifting, as somebody who utilized DUP for what it was sort of interpreted to be back in the heyday of DUP and powerlifting. You know, I ended up in the same spot. I ended up injured before I knew any better. But as I really studied things and as I really went through things and developed my own thoughts and my own feelings around it and my own theories around it, you know, I really got to know what DUP was supposed to be originally versus what it turned out to be. And it's just a world of difference there. So make sure, you know, if you're somebody who really wants to implement DUP or a high-low method into your training, make sure you're doing it the smart way. Make sure you're doing it the right way. Don't just always be taking things to failure or taking things to really high intensities or really high RPEs or RIRs. Give yourself that day where things are much lower in intensity, even though the volume might be a little higher those days because you're doing more sets or more reps. The intensity needs to compensate for that. So that's just sort of my little video about DUP. Hope you guys found that a little bit helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments. Ask me questions. I'll try to respond to those. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram at The Strength Cave. My YouTube channel is Andres Vargas if you're watching this on IGTV. I look forward to the next video. Thanks, guys.